Alright, what's going on, guilty guys and gals, and welcome back to a thrilling episode of Tier List Central. Today, it is Ace Attorney characters, because for some reason I haven't done Ace Attorney tier lists yet. There actually is a reason. It's because I haven't played Spirit of Justice yet, or Edgeworth Investigations, half of the first one and then the second one. So I didn't want to get spoiled to stuff, but this is just original Trilogy characters, of which I have seen them all. Now, just because I've seen them doesn't mean I'm going to remember their names. In fact, let me just make a separate category on top here for N/A, because there's some of these like victims and stuff, it's not even worth ranking them. Like, they're literally just evidence. So yeah, let's take a brief look and just look at all the characters that are here. Freaking parrot. I have to rank the parrot. How am I going to rank the parrot? Also, isn't this... Okay, also spoilers. Spoilers. I guess the reason they added Misty Faye and also, I know I saw her, Misty Faye, is because technically she's Elise Donum. But, come on, man. They're the same person. Anyway... we'll just put those in N/A when we get there. Let me actually just change the color to gray. So, we're starting with Acro. Yes, Bat's the younger one. A lot of people don't like Acro, I don't think. As a villain, anyway. Because he's kind of, like, in the right. Like, you kind of get where he's coming from, even though he's trying to murder a child. I'll put Acro in B. He's kind of like a middle-of-the-road character. Nothing crazy going on, but as much as people hate that case for the one stupid leap of logic, I honestly think it's a good case for at least its story. I keep forgetting you can't see my head moves, but I'm just kind of like looking slyly at the camera. Oh my god, Adrian Andrews, that's her name. It's just a great character arc, you know? Not to spoil anything, but she's from... Spoil anything for the next tier list. But she's one of my favorite characters from the second game, in general. And I like that she comes back and she's doing better, and then she's kind of like... You help her out again, and she's appreciative, and it's just nice. You know, not a lot of Ace Attorney characters get a second chance. And I think it's nice that she did, given that, you know, it's one of the better cases from the third game, too. I don't know. I just really like Adrian Andrews. I also really like this fool. Look at me! Completely ridiculous. Like, the minute you see him, you're like, oh yeah, he did it. But at the same time, I think it's hilarious. His freaking... Because it's not so much... A lot of Ace Attorney cases are like this. It's not so much figuring out who the culprit is, it's being able to pin the crime on them when it's like they've done all this work to cover up their involvement. And look at me. It's really hard for me not to just say look at me. Look at me is one of those cases where it's like, oh, oops. We played right into his hand. Now we gotta do this all over again. I think it's a really nice idea for a case to have you completely get him on like the first day and then have to completely undo your own explanation to save your client. Even though it looks shady. Ron Delight. I don't really get Ron's motivations as much. Like, my cool wife likes to spend money, and I have to support her lifestyle, so I steal things. But I do like the idea of this guy who is like totally timid and meek being like this super esteemed phantom thief type dude. I like that. How am I supposed to rank Mystic Ami? She's dead. She's in a vase the entire time. I'm not ranking her. I don't remember her name. A lot of the Rise from the Ashes characters are characters I'm not going to remember because Those are characters that not only just show up in one case, but they barely do anything else for the rest of the series. The only exception being like, but they barely do anything noteworthy in their one case, right? A lot of characters don't show up in the rest of the series, but they at least have like noteworthy moments or traits that make them memorable. I don't know. She's okay. I'll put her in C tier. She's not really that memorable. I don't even remember her name, so, you know. April May. I kind of like April May. More as an obstacle than a character. But I like the idea of this lady who comes in and she's like, "Aren't I cute? You should believe everything I say." And having Phoenix be like the only one, well, not the only one, but one of the only one in court that's just like, seriously, you guys? Come on, man. She's just a lady. She's a evil lady. Come on. Yeah, I don't know. I like that dynamic anyway. I think it would have been totally ruined with that scrapped Phoenix sprite where he has like the heart eyes. If that actually made it into the game, that would have ruined everything. But it didn't, so we're good. Iris Hawthorne. I'm so sad Iris doesn't appear in anything else anymore. What happened to her? Like, yeah, she messed up with the investigation, so she had to spend some years in jail. But it's not like she was, like, the murderer, so I don't think she got executed or anything. I miss Iris, alright? She was a good character. What did you do with Iris? I think it would have been really neat to have a case in, like, Apollo Justice or something. I know she doesn't appear in Spirit of Justice, because I probably would have gotten that spoiled for me at some point. And if she does, don't tell me now. But, I don't know. It would have been nice to see her and Phoenix interact after all those years. It's like, that's Iris. Wow, hi. But yeah. Bat. I don't know. Barely a character. Literally only appears in flashbacks, and he's like in a coma. He's more of a character motivation than a character himself. But I can't put him in D tier because he's at least kind of likable in the flashbacks. Okay. Hear me out. The frickin' what's his name? I don't think he even has a name. He's literally just called, like, Doorman or whatever. Whoops. I think he's hilarious. Yes, I've been promoted to manager of the Gatewater Hotel, and I'm turning it into the scene of the phone tapping, the murderer's hotel room. Ooh, I'll make so much money. Also the fact that, like, he's just funny. I kind of wish he would have shown up in a different case too, honestly. Like the last case. Stop moving up. The last case of the second game. That would have been a good time to introduce him again. Would have been interesting. Actually, I would have liked it a lot if he turned out to be Shelia De Quilla. I think that would have been like a really funny idea, but I get why he's not. Even like working with Shelia De Quilla, I think that would be a funny turn for him. And then he gets like obsessed about the fact that he worked with Shelia De Quilla. Anyway, I don't remember this guy's name either. Puppet Man. Maybe I should have just looked up the names before I did this. Because people are going to be like, why are you even ranking them if you don't remember their names? Well, I remember what they did. It's just like, you know, for the characters that show up once, it's been like 5 years since I've seen their names. Puppet Man. Trillo is the puppet. Ben Quist. That's his name. Ben Quist. Not really anything. Also, he's got a very weak chin. It's the weakest chin on anyone I've ever seen. He kind of looks like he's in a different art style. Now that I'm looking at him, he kind of looks like he's in a different art style from everyone else. It's kind of weird. Don't really like it. Sister Bikini. You know, I'll put her on the same level as Bellhop guy because honestly, they kind of serve the same purpose to be just kind of funny witnesses. I like the in-universe fact that she's super short is because they didn't have enough room for sprites of her being taller for the court scenes. I think that's just very funny. And, she's pretty funny herself. This guy. This is the guy who got killed in the vault, right? I don't even remember what case that was. That was Mask the Mask. That was the Mask the Mask case. I'm not ranking him. Who gives a crap about this guy? Nobody. I'll rank her, though. Again, we literally never get a speaking line. But she is important to Adrian, in sort of the same way Bat is important to Acro. So I'll put her in B. You feel bad for her. Her name is Celeste. I don't remember her last name, though. Impacts. Celeste Impacts. Yeah, I got it. I don't know. She's a good character motivation. Dalia Hawthorne, that's got to be an S tier, right? Like, she's right beside her sister. Hey, perfect. I really like the idea of the final case being one where the biggest help you've had in the rest of the games, in other words, spirit channeling, becomes your entire, like, the entire danger of the scenario. Like, spirit channeling is kind of the murder weapon, in a way, which I think is such a cool idea. And Dalia being the one to do it is just really neat. Also, I like how she's the main villain of, like, 3 cases. Although, technically, she's not the main villain of the last case. She's the most villainous. So, yeah. Speaking of people... Oh, I know who this is. This is Cinderblock. Cindy Stone. Isn't it? Isn't it? I was trying to figure out who this was when I opened up this tier list the first time. Again, not ranking her. The victim who you'd never meet. Cody Hawkins. He's alright. I'll put him in B. Again, he's one of those, like, characters where at least they're memorable, but, like, I don't know. I kind of like him being a kid witness, though. It's kind of interesting, at least. I don't know who this is either. Who this is supposed to be. There's like a billion people it could be, but if I don't even remember and he doesn't even have like a portrait, probably not that important. D. Vasquez. Put her in D. No. I kind of like D. Vasquez. She's not great, but she's not bad. It's kind of an underwhelming villain for the whole Steel Samurai case. Like, it would have been kind of more interesting if it really was like a battle between these 2 trained martial artists, but whatever. She pushed a guy on a fence. It's all right. I don't remember your name either, but you are Maggie Bird's fiance or boyfriend. I don't remember. Who got pushed off a railing and died, which is like the worst way to go. I don't know. D for don't remember what your character is. Maybe I should put him in NA at that point, because he's not really bad. He just doesn't really have anything going for him. Miles Edgeworth. Come on. You know I'm putting Edgeworth in S tier. I really like his character arc of going from someone who you're like, oh, this is a bad guy. Like, he's forging evidence in trials. Like, this is a bad dude. To like, oh, you're my buddy. I love Edgeworth. Hey, it's Edgeworth. One of my favorite characters is back on screen. Love that guy. Or where's Edgeworth in the second game? He's just good. I really like the contrast between him being this like stuck-up noble dude and also being a huge dork for samurai shows. I think that's funny. And I just enjoy him. Misty Faye. I don't like Misty Faye. I think Misty Faye's kind of an asshole. Honestly. All of Maya's family, other than Pearl, is kind of terrible. And I guess you could sort of count Iris, even though she's very distantly related. But, I don't know. Elise Donham never really did much for me. And I get the reason she had to leave. Because, you know, she didn't want to discredit spirit channeling, I guess. So she just left so that maybe it could have a future. But at the same time, like, you could have at least contacted your daughters, because Mia was still around. Just send them a letter. Like, anything. Like, sending them a letter is not going to reveal your location. Like, they're not going to be like, if you send a letter and say, I'm doing this for the benefit of spirit channeling, like, please don't meet with me. We can keep sending letters, but just say you're like a friend of this author lady. That would at least be something. And even if they did spill the beans, it's been so many years at that point. Like, come on. I don't know. I get it, but I also don't. So B tier. Emma Skye, she's okay. I don't like her as much as a lot of people do. I guess this is just her Rise from the Ashes appearance, which is, I think, slightly better than her Apollo Justice one. I don't know. She's kind of more annoying to me. I miss Gumshoe, okay? But in Rise for the Ashes, I guess she more fits A tier. I'd probably put her in, like, B for Apollo Justice and stuff. But I do like her. I just don't like her as much as the other characters that fill her role. Like, I don't like her as much as Maya. I definitely don't like her as much as Gumshoe. Like, you know, she's just not quite as charming to me personally. But I get it. Franziska Von Karma, okay. Again, with a very interesting character arc. A character whose father was just the biggest asshole in the entire series. Who's trying to live up to his terrible reputation of being a prosecutor who wins by any means necessary. She's someone who got overshadowed by Miles. And she's, you know, resentful of that. Like, Miles is adopted. He's not even Manfred's real heir. Like, you get where she's coming from, and she's really mean, but that final scene where Edgeworth brings her whip back, I think that's what it is. I don't completely remember. And she breaks down crying because, you know, things just didn't go her way, and she's just distraught about it. It's really sad, and it really, like, humanizes her, right? Because before that, you're like, yeah, she's happy McWhip. And then the third game, the last trial, again, does wonders for her character, too, in the way that she's, like, so determined to help. It's just using her, like, stubbornness in a helpful way. I don't know. Good character, all right? As much as Manfred sucks, at least he had good kids, you know? Kind of. Damon Gant. I like his clapping, and I like that his music is called Swimming Anyone? But he doesn't really do much for me. Gatto doesn't really do much for me either, to be honest. Like, in comparison with Edgeworth and Franziska, how does Gatto stand up to that? Like, he's not really... I mean, he's related to Mia, but you don't really find that out until late in the game. And it also, like... He's just kind of aloof. I don't know. I'll put him in B tier. He's better than Diego Armando, but we'll get to that. Goodman, Detective Goodman. I don't remember his first name. I remember that his name is Goodman. Because he was a good man, alright? I'm not ranking him either. Never has a speaking line, all that junk. Gregory Edgeworth. At least Gregory Edgeworth has some character connections, right? The only defense attorney to ever land a strike on Manfred Von Karma. It's pretty notable. Seems alright. I'll put him in B. Honestly, I wonder what Edgeworth would have turned out like if he would have stuck with his real father. I really wonder. Because him and Manfred are very different, but they're also very similar from what we've seen, from what I've seen. I know he shows up in Edgeworth Investigations, because, you know, it's an Edgeworth story, so that makes sense. But from what I've seen just from, like, the games, he seems just kind of like a stoic person, too. So, not that different. At least he's not evil. But, you know. Dr. Gray. That's his name, right? I don't remember. D. Hate that guy. But I guess that's the point, right? You're supposed to hate that guy. He's not a bad character. He's just a bad dude. Don't like him. Everything must be optimized. I don't care if you don't have enough sleep. Yeah, not a fan. Marvin Grossberg. I kind of like the idea of him. I actually like him more in Case 2 of the first game. I like him as like this fallen great defense attorney. This guy who sold off his soul for money. Kind of cool. I don't know why they kept bringing him back though. I mean, it's totally fine for like the one Mia case, because she's literally working for him at that point. But I didn't really need to see him again in the first game. I mean, I guess it's to save space, but he never really made too much of an impact on me. Kind of like D. Vasquez. Not bad, just, you know, okay. Actually, let me rename these really quick so that it gets a better idea of what I'm trying to get across here. So these are excellent. Did I spell that right? I don't care. Amazing. Or, you know what? We'll put great. Not necessarily amazing, but great. Great characters. Good. Average. Bad. I don't feel like I should put Dr. Gray in bad, though. He's not a bad character. He's just average. There are a couple bad characters. But again, we'll get there. Dick Gumshoe. Amazing. Basically, any character you spend time with grows like, you get more and more charmed by them, you know? I almost said Marvin Grossberg. No. I really like Gumshoe. He's the perfect mix of being kind of antagonistic and also being a big softie who wants to help, you know? Like, in the first games, he's like, oh, I'm not giving you any information, bub. But as time goes on, he's like, I'll help any way I can, you know? He's a good detective, you know? Someone who wants to help. This isn't Juan Karina. This is the other one. Max Steele. I don't think that was actually his name, but whatever. The one that Old Bag is obsessed with in the third trial. The first Steel Samurai case. Not ranking him. I don't have anything to say about him. Same with this guy. You know who this guy reminds me of now? You know in the DLC for Three Houses, that Alfric? I think that's his name. Alfric? That dude. Right? He just reminds me of him. Again, not ranking him. Some defense attorney nobody cares about. Yeah. I don't know what this guy's deal is, but he's just average. I don't remember his name either. But I remember he's the chef at that restaurant Maya works at for a little while. Nothing special. Kind of like Gray. I don't really like him, but I think that's kind of the point. Dr. Haughty, who isn't really a doctor. I don't like this guy, okay? I get he's got some issues up top there, but come on, put a leash on him or something. You gotta, like, stop him from wandering around the hospital harassing people. Please? Please? Especially with his certain attitudes towards young girls. Not a fan. You know what? I don't like this guy either. Big bulbous nose. I don't remember his name. What is going on outside? Never mind. Somebody's doing something weird. He's alright. His theme is kind of funny. That's like the best thing I can say about him. Eeny meeny. I think I called her Einy Miny the first time I played the game, but I guess it's Eeny meeny and then Mimi meeny. You know, I'll put them beside each other. I like her. I don't think a lot of other people like her, but I actually really like her. She's got a reasonable reason to kill this dude. And I like the idea that she basically puts... What am I trying to say? I like that she, like, teams up with Aunt Evil to to use spirit channeling of all things to commit the murder. It's just, you know, it shows she's not stupid, right? And then Mimi Miney, she's good. Good enough. She's good character motivation, you know? I don't remember this guy or his brother. I don't remember their names. I feel like this guy's name is Cliff. Could be wrong. He was okay. Again, another Rise from the Ashes character is just like, meh, alright. And I'll put his brother there too. They were alright. I mean, I get why he's mad, right? But, I don't know. Didn't really do much for me. I like his theme though. I was considering making his theme my my outro theme for a while, but it doesn't really fit, so. This is Juan Karina. I think Juan Karina is a good character. He's a terrible person, but I think he's a good character. I think he serves his purpose of when the case totally flips on its head, you're like, oh, so everybody sucks. I like that. That's showbiz, baby. Okay. Hey, the judges are beside each other. Hey, it's comedian judge, eh? Oh, I'll go play some hockey with my hockey beard. Hey. I guess I'll put him in average. It's nothing special. I like our regular judge. He's, again, not excellent, but he's great. I like how he is so easily swayed by anything anyone says. It's just really funny for this game in particular, where it's like, the law doesn't always do the right thing. But it's like, oh, well, you know, the judge is impartial, right? No! He's such a dummy. I do like when he gets serious, though. When he gets serious in a few cases, it's really good. I'm not ranking Mask to Mask. Again, I already did. Is it down here? It's fine. Diego Armando. I do not like Diego Armando. I don't know if I'm the only one who doesn't like Diego Armando. I mean, I know I'm not. Ooh, I gotta pause. I'll talk about Diego Armando in but a moment. Right, well, that was like 6 hours. I had to babysit our dog because she went and got fixed. So she's just been chilling. But now I'm back. I can't even remember. I was about to talk about Diego Armando. I remembered immediately when I saw his smarmy face. Okay, so Diego Armando. Why don't I like him? He gives me no reason to. For Gatto, it makes sense, right? It makes sense that he's a little bit bitter and like rude to everybody, because not only was he like poisoned and in a coma for a number of years, but when he wakes up, his girlfriend is dead and the world is changed and he can't see colors anymore and all this stuff. But for Diego Armando to act the same way is kind of ridiculous. I just don't buy it, you know? Like, I'd like him if he was just suave or, like, you know, a bit more supportive, a bit less of an asshole. You know? I don't know. I just, like, specifically because, like, it wouldn't be so bad, like, you know, if he wasn't a main character that we're supposed to care about and also Mia's boyfriend. Like, the two of them together is the most mystifying thing I've ever heard of, but I guess sometimes it's like that. I don't know. I like the idea of Diego Armando, but the execution is not something I enjoy. On the other hand, complete opposite, I should say, we have Manfred Von Karma, who I think is my favorite Ace Attorney villain. That's not true. That guy's coming up soon. But probably second favorite. I just love the idea of this guy who is obsessed with perfection and that is his downfall. I realize a lot of like the characters who like last over more than one case are at the top, but that just makes sense. Manfred, though, what makes him good is the fact that he's connected to so many other things in this universe. Like, you could argue that Manfred Von Karma is possibly the reason that there is this kind of terrible court system right now. Because if Manfred always wins his cases through faking evidence and all of this intimidation and all that, then it could breed that expectation for other prosecutors, right? Oh, man. See, this is why you finish your recording in one go, so things like that don't happen where you lose your train of thought and then your phone goes off. But Manfred, I don't know, he's probably the most intimidating villain in Ace Attorney. Maybe only beat out by Dalia, just because, you know, Dalia can come back even after she's dead, right? So, yeah, I don't know. I really like the fact that Manfred's got his hands in so many pockets. And even after he gets, like, arrested, he's still a big impact on the main characters, mostly Edgeworth, but... Well, Edgeworth and Francisca, I should say, but also still Phoenix. I don't know. It's very interesting. I do not remember who she is, who this girl is. I know where she works. She works at that tech company that Glenn L. worked for. But I do not remember her name. I do not remember what she does. She's not... I don't think I can put her in NA because we do see her, so I'm actually going to put her in bad because I don't remember anything about her. Pretty forgettable. Honestly, the whole Glenn L. case is kind of forgettable, which is unfortunate because, you know, I like to like Maggie Bird. I try anyway. Next up is Sister Skye. I don't remember her name. Rise from the Ashes again. It was probably the case I was least invested in like the entire series. She's all right. I'll put her in average with the other Rise from the Ashes characters. A lot of what she does doesn't really make that much sense. Like, I remember vividly a couple of times where she did something and I was like, but why are you covering it up? Like, if you talked about it, that would, like, help everyone. I remember the reason now, her reasoning anyway, is that, like, she doesn't want to get her kid sister in trouble, but, like, if you don't believe she did it, I don't know. How would she have done it? Like, I don't know. I guess the difference is I don't live in a world where the court system is as bad as this universe. But she didn't leave that strong of an impression. I think probably the moment I remember the most is when she's standing with her back turned, but the chair is still the right way around. So she's basically just like kneeling on the chair or whatever. I remember that moment because it was just funny. But Larry Butts. He's just okay. You know, there was a lot of potential with Mr. Larry Butts. There was a lot of potential for growth there, but he kind of gets the Akane Owari treatment and stays as just kind of a jerk. I'm kind of sad, though, at the same time that he doesn't show up after Trials and Tribulations, because he is an asshole, and I don't really like him that much, but he works so well as, like, a character that you like to see get beat up a little bit, you know? Like in the Mystic... Bridge to the Turnabout? That's what it's called. I just love seeing him just constantly berated by both Edgeworth and Phoenix for the fact that, like, you drew it upside down and you didn't remember that? Larry, how? Now that I'm saying this, I think he does show up in a DLC case in one of the 3DS games, but I don't think I've played it, so that would be why. Lotta Hart. I was actually kind of sad that Lotta didn't return in the third game, even though I don't particularly like her. Again, it's the same thing as Larry, right? You like her to show up because then things get more interesting, even though you don't particularly like the character. Kind of like Manfred, except, you know, less good. I don't really have a lot to say about Lotta, ironically. She's just kind of okay. How about Maggie Bird? I'm going to put her in good, too. I like her personality quirk of being completely unlucky, but she doesn't really make that much of an impact. She doesn't really have any, like, emotional story like a lot of the other characters that are in, like, the top. And then you got the freaking Bellhop. But the Bellhop's just funny. Everybody else has some sort of, like, character quirk that makes them really good or, like, really encompasses their entire character. But Maggie's just like, I'm unlucky, and it doesn't really seem to affect much other than the fact that she happened to be in 2 murder cases in a row. You know? I don't know. Sort of the same with Desiree Delight. Like, I don't know. She's fine. She doesn't really, like, impact a lot. Basically, her biggest impact was on Ron. And that's about it. It's just the reason he steals stuff is because she likes to spend money. I don't know. Larry was into her. I remember that. But here is actually my favorite villain from the series. Matt on Guard. I don't know. I really like the twist in the final case of Justice for All, where the defendant ends up being super evil, but at the same time you can't just drop him because he's got Maya in captivity. It's just neat, you know? I really like that case. I think that is my favorite case in the series, but we'll see when I actually do that video. I don't know. There's just something about Matt on Guard acting like a stupid, like, stuck-up kid, and then the total heel turn into master manipulator. And his comeuppance feels so great. And honestly, because of Matt on Guard, I like Shelia De Quilla a lot more. Like, Shelia De Quilla is just kind of amorphous as a character. He just says lines. You don't really get any read on who he is. But Matt on Guard characterizes him almost completely. Like, every one of Matt's actions is what makes Shelia De Quilla interesting. Oh, Shelia De Quilla won't give up on Matt because of an honor deal, and then when the honor deal is broken, that's when Matt's in trouble. I just like the idea to escape Shelia De Quilla, he's willing to go to jail. It's nice. I don't remember Max something. This is another circus character. You know what? You can go an average too. Max Galactica. He is, we'll put it down here because you don't really need to say the not available characters. I don't know. He's kind of an ass, and I don't really enjoy him at all. He doesn't really have much going for him, right? Like, none of the circus characters really do. I don't mind the case as a whole, but the characters are definitely the weakest part, other than, I guess, that one part in the trial. Maya Faye. Look at this star-studded trio of characters here. Maya Faye, obviously excellent. There's just so much to talk about with Maya. If the games they'd not be as popular as they are without her. Like, I know this for a fact. Because, honestly, Maya sets almost the entire tone of the first 3 games. And I think her absence is one of the reasons that Apollo Justice feels a little bit hollow. She just... her sense of, like, slight bullying on Phoenix is what really humanizes the whole situation. She's willing to, like, pick on basically anyone. And it's just hilarious to have the contrast of someone wearing, like, religious ceremonial clothing, and then she's just the biggest memer of anyone in the entire game. I don't know. Just a good character. There's a reason she's basically the face of the series, other than Edgeworth. I guess you could say Phoenix is, but that's kind of a given. Mike Meekins, he's fine. Honestly, I feel like Mike Meekins is more what Maggie should have been, where she's like cloyingly trying to be helpful but never succeeding. I feel like that would have made her a little bit better. But, you know, it's hard not to like Mike Meekins. He's just so pathetic. It's like, oh, poor guy. Mia Faye, of course, also excellent. Another main character, so that makes sense. The thing about Mia is that, like, you feel really bad when she dies. Like, you meet her for one case and then she goes. And her interactions with Maya are one of the things that informs that. Because there's a lot of, like, media that will introduce a sympathetic character just to kill them immediately for drama, right? The Walking Dead. But what really makes that effective is when the characters around them had a deep connection to them, and you get to know and love that character, not the one that's necessarily died. There is, of course, the fact that Mia gets to come back in every case in the trilogy, but, you know, her death is more meaningful because not only is she kind of sweet in the first trial to Phoenix, she's really trying to help him out, but then we get introduced to Maya and have to defend her, and there's all that emotional weight behind it, and yeah, just a good character, just really solid. Bullet, is it? It's like Bullet or Rocket or something like that. Missile. It's Missile, isn't it? Missile. I mean, obviously excellent. Obviously. No qualms on that one. Here's Misty Faye again. Do you guys want to see Misty Faye again? No? Okay. Mo... What is he? Larry Mo Curls? Honestly... put him in average. He's not bad. He just doesn't really have anything going for him. I kind of like his sort of character development where he, you know, becomes the new ringmaster and has to carry on his brother's role as like the heart of the circus family. That's kind of neat. But during the actual case, he's just really annoying. I was really looking forward to this, but I can't remember her name, which is unfortunate. On Morgan. Yeah. Morgan Faye. Got it. Hey, not bad. Again, she only appears for one trial, but just like Manfred Von Karma, her like influence affects everything for the next game or two. I just like the idea of this really stuck-up woman who's willing to do anything in order to get her daughter on the quote-unquote throne of spirit channeling, despite her daughter not even understanding. Also, man, what a good way to like retroactively make her seem even more cruel for the fact that she totally ditched Dalia and Iris. Like, it really makes you like wonder what would have happened if Dalia Dalia got like any love throughout her life. Like with the twins, you basically see the two Hawthorne sisters take, well, the two Hawthorne twins anyway. We'll talk about the third sister in time. You see how they take their issues different ways, right? Like Iris and Dalia had the same tragic beginning, but what informs who they are is their response to that. Dalia becomes cruel and bitter because of what happened to her, and Iris becomes reserved and, what's the word I'm looking for? Like, committed, I guess? I don't know, something like that, in order to try to, you know, have a better life. And it really makes you wonder, like, so many things went wrong to make Dalia who she was, right? Like, her mother abandoned her, her father then abandoned her twin sister, and her father really didn't care about her and all that. It makes you wonder, like, if Dalia was dropped off at the monastery and Iris kept with her family, what would have happened then? Right? Would it have been the other way around? I don't know. Morgan is interesting for the fact that you kind of get where she's coming from. She got, like, shafted really hard by the clan deciding to promote Misty instead of her, even though it was technically her birthright. But she's also evil, so it's like, yeah, you're going down. I don't feel bad about this at all. Poor Pearl. Ugh. I don't remember this guy, but he's British man, Dalia's boyfriend, who gets shocked. He has at least some character, so I will put him at average. I like that he tries to warn Phoenix, even though Phoenix is unresponsive to it. Kind of sad that he's dead, actually. He didn't really deserve it. Even though he's kind of, like, stuck up, you know. Glen Elg, who cares about Glen Elg? Well, he's a victim, so I'm putting him in not available, because we don't really get any characterization on him at all. The only interesting thing about Glen Elg is his name, because it's a palindrome. Like, that's it. Wendy Old Bag. Hold on, I have to pause again. I'm so sorry. Okay, geez, one of these days I will get through it. Although at least this captures sort of the manic attitude of moving, you know? It's just sort of what's going on. Wendy Old Bag, I'll put her in great, I guess. She is a great comedic character, honestly. And again, sad she didn't get to appear in Trials and Tribulations. She doesn't really have that much going for her in terms of like personality or anything, but she's just a great comedic character. Sort of like Bikini and the Bell Boy, you know? Like, they don't have a lot going on, but they're funny. Terry Falls, I'm going to put him in great too. Talk about a character you feel really bad for. Like, the guy went to prison and then committed suicide just because his girlfriend told him to. Like, poor dude. He's just so easily manipulated. Winston Payne. You know, I'm going to put Winston Payne in excellent. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Winston Payne is the best comedic character in the series. This guy who is so full of himself and gets torn down immediately every single time. Oh yeah, I'm the rookie killer. You'll never make it past me. And then you immediately do, and it's easy. It's just really funny. I love it so much. I love the fact that like iterations of him appear in like every game. It's too good. Pearls. You know what? I'm going to put Pearls in great. Pearls doesn't really get a lot going on in these games, which is kind of sad. Well, no, the last case, I think, makes her deserve excellent. She's a child, right? It's really hard to write a child to be profoundly interesting. One this young, anyway. But I think the fact, like everything going on with Morgan, and the fact she's related to Dalia and Iris, and the fact that she's so committed to Maya, even though Maya is the thing that her mother wants her to destroy the most, it's a good like driving force behind her character. And she's just kind of, you know, sweet most of the time, which is why I was going to put her in great, because she's nothing really crazy, but I do like the way she plays into the story, at least. Penny something, the one who wants to trade you cards. She's fine. I kind of thought she was going to have more going on, like she was going to be involved in the murder somehow, but she kind of just disappears after day one of investigation, so yeah, you're fine, whatever. Phoenix Wright. Oh, bad. Phoenix Wright sucks. No. I think what Apollo Justice was missing when it came to writing Phoenix Wright is the fact that Phoenix Wright is completely determined by the people around him, right? Like, everything that makes Phoenix interesting is his drive to help the people around him. That's why we're invested in his goals, because they're usually to protect characters that we very much enjoy. Whether that be Maya, Pearl, Edgeworth, you know, any of them. Mia. Even his interaction with the Gumshoe, when you feel sorry for him, you're like, yeah, I feel sorry for Gumshoe too, right? But Phoenix on his own isn't much of a character. Like, he's just a little bit sassy and then kind of, you know, kind of dorky, and that's pretty much it. But that's not so bad when he's surrounded by a large supporting cast, whereas in like Apollo Justice, he's just kind of like a old dude. He's a bit too bitter, I think, is an issue. And a bit too stuck up in the flashbacks. Like, he gets like way too confident. That's not something Phoenix would do, I don't think. He'd constantly be like, I'm about to lose every trial, even if, like, if he didn't get a big head after winning his first 5 trials in a row and defeating the undefeated prosecutor Manfred Von Karma, why would he get a big head after defeating Gatto? Like, yeah, I don't think that works. But Phoenix in the trilogy he's good. I like him quite a bit. And look, now he gets to sit beside Edgeworth. Perfect. Will Powers is good. You know what? I'll put Will Powers in great. I like Will Powers quite a bit. I just like his thing of being this really, really innocent dude that everybody is afraid of because he's a big burly dude. with like Wolverine hair, actually saber-tooth hair. It's just, yeah, he's kind of on the same line as like, who was I gonna point at? Mike Meekins. He's kind of in the same line as Mike Meekins, but at least he gets to show up a bit more in the trilogy, right? I really like this dude too. I don't remember his name. What's his name? Red White. Because Red White and Blue Corp. Red White is, again, a really great villain. Like, if the first game did something right, it was the villains. Like, none of these villains, other than like, who was Frank Saw It? Frank Saw It's kind of lame, but that's because it's a tutorial. But all of the villains in the first game, outside Frank Saw It and maybe D. Vasquez, were like really standout, at least. Manfred, Red White, friggin' April May, and then Damon Gant. They're all pretty good. Like, none of them are straight up kind of bad, you know? And I don't know. I just like the way... I think what makes a villain good in this series, because it doesn't have a lot of time to flesh out characters, is that it is related to characters you already know. So, Red White being related to Mia so profoundly is kind of what makes him an intimidating villain. And the fact that he tries to arrest Phoenix, I guess. I just like how it goes from Phoenix protecting Maya to Phoenix trying to protect himself with Maya's help. It's a good trial. And it makes me hate Red White quite a lot. A good villain. Regina Berry. Yeah, that's right. It's the Berry Big Circus. A Regina Berry. She's bad. She's not only annoying, but I mean, it's not really her fault, but the way she thinks causes like the worst thing to happen. I don't know. If you're like 13 and don't realize that having a lion bite down on somebody's head is a bad idea, I don't know what to tell you. You're just not a good person. And then Russell Berry. I can't even believe I remembered his name. I guess it's just because I was talking about Regina. I'm putting him in not available. Who cares about Russell Berry? Anyone? I don't think so. Frank Saw It. He's fine. He's a decent first case, get him out of here kind of villain. I like his toupee throw animation. That's pretty funny. But other than that, not very memorable or anything. Just the first one. Salmonella. Ugh. What was even the point of Salmonella? Why does he look like that? Why does he act like that? Honestly, just fill him in with frickin' Penny or whatever. Like, I hate Salmonella. He's the worst character. Well, he and Dr. Haughty are honestly on the same level, I guess. Polly, obviously excellent character. Polly is brilliant. Putting Polly in not available. Polly's not a cute dog. Polly doesn't really deserve ranking. All she does is repeat lines that Yanni Yogi says. I don't think I can rank that. Shelia De Quilla. I think Shelia De Quilla is great. Talking about intimidating, right? You never see his face. You never know what he's thinking. And again, his interactions with Matt on Guard really make him something special. And I know that he appears in the Edgeworth investigation games, so when I eventually play those, I will be happy to see his face again. His face, quote unquote. Who the hell is this man's? Is this the guy that gets killed in the imposter case? I think. He's definitely a victim, because I don't remember him at all. Whatever. What's your name? Victoria? Whoever you are, you're fine. No real... Viola? Something like that, you know? It's sort of like an Italian-sounding name. I don't know. She's like sweet but also evil. That's her character. Yeah, I don't know. Don't really care. This guy, oh, he's fine. I kind of like him as a first villain for the same reason I really like Payne, because you know, it's just really fun to For some reason, my brain was, it's really fun to kill him. And it's really fun to get him guiltied, you know? Like, get out of here, man. I have a higher education than you. Yeah, no, you're in jail now. Goodbye. Yanni Yogi, actually great. Again, it's another one of those characters who puts on the really, like, dopey act and then is actually really serious. Not quite as profoundly interesting as Mad on Guard, because Mad on Guard has a lot of stuff to back him up. But the idea that Yanni Yogi is this guy who got wronged by the criminal justice system so hard that he basically just became a hermit. It's really sad. The fact that his fiance left him, all that. I don't remember if she left him or if she died. Anyways, tragic backstory for this dude. And, you know, I can't help but feel bad for him. So, it's a pretty great character for the short time he's on screen. Who's this? Valerie Hawthorne. Here she is, the third Hawthorne sibling. I don't care about you, Valerie Hawthorne. Crooked cops. Ugh. And finally, phoneme wrong. I don't remember his name. Furio Tigre. I did, actually. Yeah. Why is his skin red? I don't know. So he looks like an evil phoenix. The fact that this guy could walk into a court with a cardboard badge and get away with it is still ridiculous. But, you know, it's Phoenix Wright. Ridiculous is embraced here. So that's the trilogy, anyway. The characters that anyone cares about. Again, not ranked within each tier, but just in general how I feel about these characters. This one was more writing than how much I like them, because obviously I hate Manfred Von Karma and Red White, but more how I like how they play into the story. But we're not done yet. You thought we were done? There's Apollo Justice to go. Oh, it's loading. It's still loading. Oh, yeah, it's back. For some reason, a bunch of the characters had their profile in here multiple times. Like, look. There's like 3 Spark Brushels. I do not need to see Spark Brushel 3 times. Also, Gumshoe isn't even in these games, so why is he here? But yes, we will be dealing with Apollo Justice characters, because I have played this game. I could, of course, do, like, Dual Destinies, but there's not as many interesting characters to talk about there. I want to talk about this one. So let's start with Emma Skye. Like I said, I think Emma Skye is slightly worse in this version, but I'm going to put her in B. Where did I have her before? She was in Great, right? Yeah, so now she's in, like, Good. I don't know. It's just... it could be better. Let's name the tiers properly. Excellent. Great. Good. Average. Bad. Yeah, she's alright. I like seeing her again, though. If they were going to bring out any character to be the detective in these games, I'm glad it was somebody we'd seen before, all grown up. But at the same time, I'm not a huge fan. Apollo Justice. I think he's great. I don't think he's as good as Phoenix as a protagonist. Well, you know what? That's actually wrong. I do think he's as good as Phoenix. Him and Trucy work just as good as him and Phoenix. It's just that him and Trucy are generally less endearing. Like, they both work really well. It's just, you know, missing Maya is very unfortunate. And the fact that Phoenix steals a lot of Apollo's screen time is a bit annoying. But I do like Apollo. Like, I always will. I think he's a great character. A great sort of... a different sort of take on Phoenix's bluff it till you make it strategy, where he's just, you know, too optimistic to let go of it. But simultaneously, he's super optimistic in court and super pessimistic in regular life, which I think is really funny. So yeah. Not Kristoff. This is Clavier, which means piano, by the way. Clavier Gavin. What a good prosecutor, man. Not the same as like not like a bad guy who you want to defeat, but a guy who you're kind of thrilled to work with, you know? Like, sort of showing that not everybody in the prosecutor's office is a big asshole that needs to be reformed. Like, no. I mean, Clavier did some bad stuff when he was younger, but he feels bad about it, right? And he's trying to make the world better. Then again, I think Kristoff lied to him, didn't he? Told him Phoenix was going to produce false evidence and then forged the evidence himself and gave it to Phoenix. Yeah, something like that. Anyway, Clavier's a cool dude. I like Clavier. I loved seeing him in the 3D games too. So, Kristoff, I think Kristoff is okay. I mean, he's better than good. I think he's a great villain. It's just he gets into that part where it's less calculated and more like maniacal and like future sighty, where his plans are way too complicated to actually function, and yet somehow they do. He has no right having his plan succeed, is what I'm saying. He thinks he's so smart, but in reality his plans never would have worked in real life. I don't know. I like the idea that he was mad about Phoenix being so good, though. I think that's a good character, a good way to integrate his character into, like, what we already know in the series. Lamiwar? Where did she go? Phoenix, I have to tell you a secret. Apollo and Trucy, they are brother and sister. Okay, I'm leaving the canon now. I will see you never. Thalassa, why? Why did you do this? Why didn't you just tell them yourself? Phoenix is too shy to do it. He looks at him and he's like, hey kids, something I gotta tell you. What is it? Yeah, we were having a great time. I hope you don't say anything life-shattering. It was nothing. Like, come on, Phoenix. One of you twos has to tell him eventually, right? Oh, well. I think she's good. She's nothing too special, though. Phoenix Wright. Old man version. I'm going to say he's good. I don't necessarily buy it. I feel like Phoenix is not the kind of guy to just give up. Like, this is the same dude who went through the entirety of law school just so he could say hi to his elementary school friend and hopefully, like, rekindle their friendship. Like, he's really going to give up after falsely being accused of producing false evidence? After everything that he's been through with trials that happen to have stuff just like that all the time? I don't know. It feels like Phoenix kind of just gave up. And I don't really like that. I do like, however, his relationship with Trucy. I really like Trucy. I think I like Trucy more than Maya, but the game needs somebody like Maya to, drive it forward. Somebody who's like the heart, right? Like, Trucy, I like her, but I like her like I liked Emma Skye in the trilogy before. Where it's like, yeah, she's got a sympathetic backstory and she's pretty fun, but she's not going to carry the game. But it's unfortunate that role was placed upon her, is what I'm saying, because I really like her otherwise. Just the idea of, like, this little magician girl being Phoenix's adopted daughter. I don't know. It makes me happy to think about. If only, Phoenix had a lady or gentleman friend. Either confirm it one way or another. Either give him Iris or give him Edgeworth. Like, somebody. I just can't believe... I'm just going to rant about Phoenix Wright, aren't I? I can't believe that Edgeworth didn't even visit him after all that happened. Like, you think Edgeworth would have started some sort of, like, appeals trial for Phoenix? Like, Phoenix was the one who told him that made him stop forging evidence. Why would he then go and start forging evidence? I don't know. Also, the fact that, like, Phoenix never talks about talking with Edgeworth at all. Like, what was even the point of the original trilogy, then? I don't know. I don't even know why I was talking about this anymore. I just, I like Trucy. I like Trucy and Apollo together especially. And it's kind of a shame that she gets sidelined in the games after this. I wanted more. Although, honestly, I'd love to see a case. Do we have one yet? I don't remember. But I'd love to see a case headed by Athena and Trucy. I think that would be kind of great. But maybe there's one in Spirit of Justice I haven't seen yet. Because I know that game has like two sides where Phoenix is with Maya and then Apollo and Athena and Trucy are on the other continent. So maybe. I don't know. Yellow Grammary. What's his name? They have ridiculous names, okay? It's not my fault. I don't know. He's fine. I don't really like him because, you know, he did some shady stuff. And he's kind of obsessed with reviving the grammary tradition or whatever. And he's kind of mad that it gets past the Trucy and blah, 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 blah. He's fine. Zach Grammary. I do not like Zach Grammary. I don't know. Am I supposed to like Zach Grammary? I feel like I'm not, in a way. I don't want to know what Trucy's life would have been like if she was raised by Zach Grammary. And freaking elusive Lamiroir. I feel like that would be an issue. But, like, he just ditched his daughter? Zach, why? You'd think that, like, the one thing he'd want to hold on to as, like, the last remnant of his dead wife would be his daughter. But no. He just dips. He's like, bye. I don't get it. Maybe I'm misremembering, but I remember at the time being like, wow, what an ass. What's your name again? Olga Orili. That's right. Olga Orili. I actually like Olga. I like her turn into like a pirate. Why? I don't know, but it's interesting. I just like I guess I just like characters that masquerade as somebody they're not. Like, cause in the original trilogy rankings, I was like, yeah, I like, this guy, it's cause they pretend to be something they're not. But I think Olga's is pretty creative anyway, if nothing else. Gasp in Pain, that's this guy's name, right? Because he gasps in pain instead of wincing. He's not as good as Winston. I mean, he's basically just a carbon copy, but I don't know. I guess there's something about his weird hair I don't like. I feel like Winston got more and more pathetic, and this was kind of like a factory reset back to Ace Attorney 1 Winston Payne, and it just doesn't really sit that well with me, but oh well. Alita Tiala. Again, maybe the most interesting thing about her is her name. But I don't know. I don't think she was really that good as a villain. I just didn't really get that much from her. The Doctor was worse, though. Like, this guy, I remember him being bad, but I don't remember why. You know what? I'm just going to put him in bad right now, too. I don't even remember why I dislike him. I just know when I was playing the game, I disliked him. He's another victim, so really I should be putting him, like, in not available, but oh well. Oh well. I like Noodles Man. Guy Eldoon? Yeah, Guy Eldoon. Noodle Guy. I think Noodle Guy is great. I really like the idea that he's, like, kind of this washed up dude, but he's really good at being a doctor. Like, if it wasn't for the fact that his rival got to it first, he would have been, like, up there with the best of them. I don't know. I just kind of like it. Also, his, despite playing it maybe a little too often, his harmonica jingle is at least memorable. Who is this? I know where she appears. I just don't remember her name. She's fine. Freaking... Don't remember this guy's name either. I remember what his deal is. He's like, I am at university. I am a university student. I am also obsessed with women's undergarments. a guy you like to see fail, so at least you get to see him fail, but at the same time, not very interesting. Dad Kitaki. Walkie's dad. No, not bad. Could have been better, could have been worse. Barely gets any screen time, so. Walkie Kitaki. I like Walkie. I think Walkie Kitaki is really... he really epitomizes, like, that teenage mindset of, like, I'll never die, yo! I'm invincible, yo! So, I like him. I also feel a little bit sympathetic toward him, too, with his whole backstory. At least he's got something going on, you know what I mean? Darian Sharkhair. I don't remember what his last name is. I think he was good, too. I actually kind of like the idea that he's a cop who's going outside the law to try to save people's lives, even if his motive was less than honorable. I'm gonna make a lot of money. Same for this guy. I can't remember his name. Lamuar's friend. Ben? Something like that? I feel like these two are basically on the same level. You expect it the same from each of them, right? The blind kid from a different country who doesn't speak English, and then the kind of rude cop. I don't know. Romaine Latus. Excellent for his name alone. Romaine Latus. Why? Romaine Latus. What a great name. I don't remember this guy's name either, but I did remember liking him. The last case of Apollo Justice is so long. Honestly, large portions of it are a blur for me. But I do remember liking this guy. He gets blackmailed. He creates the forgery against Phoenix. But he's kind of just a good dad from what I remember. I don't remember a lot, though. So I might be wrong. Big Man Grammary. Don't really like him either. Again, one of these people in the Ace Attorney series who are breeding this stupid family drama over inheritance. Like, why? Look what you did! You did that! Hey, it's Mike Meekins again. I already talked about Mike Meekins. Spark Brushel is important. I know Spark Brushel is kind of horrifying, but at the same time, he's like the first journalist in the entire series with like a shred of integrity. He's just kind of like trying to figure all this stuff out. He's kind of like the dude who runs like a lost media forum or whatever. Like, you kind of respect it. He's putting in a lot of time and effort for something he really isn't involved in, just to, you know, figure it out. He wants to figure it out. And you know what? I wanted to figure it out too. So can't really say the guy's a bad guy. And then, what's your name? I should remember your name, but I don't. I liked her a lot too. The idea of like basically a mute character being put on the stand and bullied, I don't know. It's really makes you feel for him, right? I could best compare her to, well, one, she kind of reminds me of like Viola in the fact that she's like really quiet and reserved. But honestly, Emma Skye. In like Rise from the Ashes, the way they like bully Emma Skye is the same. It made me feel the same way as when they bullied her on the stand. It's just the original trilogy had a lot stronger characters, whereas Apollo Justice really doesn't. Alright, I'll put Romaine Latus back down in freaking average land where he belongs. But yeah, I think that's probably my definitive list of Ace Attorney characters I have been exposed to so far, aside from Dual Destinies, because I just don't care enough to do it yet. When I eventually finish Spirit of Justice and whatever, I will maybe get around to ranking the 3D games. But yeah, that will be this video. It's hella long, so I hope you enjoyed. If you did, leave a like, perhaps subscribe, perhaps tell your friends, perhaps leave a comment, perhaps, visit my Twitter. Sure, why not? We'll go with that. I'm tired. I have to record an episode of Straw 2 after this. My voice is going to be so mad at me. All right. I'll see you guys soon. Bye.